Tenet starts out with the protagonist looking for some politician, or something, at the opera house when he sees some strange stuff, gets knocked out in a van, and then wakes up on some train tracks tied to a chair with a Russian man interrogating him. He takes a suicide pill, doesn't die, you get the picture. He then wakes up on some boat and meets Victor, the man who tells him about Tenet. The protagonist goes to meet some scientist lady named Laura to get some more answers. She tells him about the time inversion, and how it can be used to do much more than just invert bullets.
Inversion.
Aim it and pull the trigger. You're not shooting the bullet, you're catching it.
Whoa. I'm not saying Armageddon here.
No. Something worse.
That is when he meets Neil, the man who oddly seems to know a little too much about the protagonist. But no worries, they break into an Indian arms dealer's penthouse together, and that's when the Indian lady tells the protagonist to see Michael Crosby. He meets him and Michael talks to the protagonist about the crazy bastard called Sadar, and also his artist wife, Elizabeth, and her son. The protagonist meets Elizabeth and tries to play with her mind a little bit, and blackmail her a little, when of course some of Sadar's goons come to beat him up. So, surprisingly, the protagonist knocks out all of Sadar's goons.
Wow.
Protagonist and Neil go for a walk, and Neil tells him about what he plans to do with a plane, and naturally, they decide to go with it so they can break into the vault and find out what the hangar has in store. Together along with Mahir, they crash a plane into the hangar and break in there. They each go into separate mirrored rooms where what seems like two agents come out of each room and have a fight with them. Neil takes down his guide, but the protagonist's guy is able to escape. Long story short, the protagonist and Sadar have a meeting. He later joins Sadar and Elizabeth on their yacht and spies on Sadar. But Sadar doesn't do anything about it because he kind of needs the protagonist. Sadar later takes Elizabeth into a warehouse. She draws a gun at him. He starts getting angry, takes the gun from her and beats her up. The protagonist and Neil go on a mission where they try to take down Sadar. But Sadar had held Elizabeth hostage, and so the protagonist kind of gave him the nuclear device, except we're later shown that he didn't. They all get into a car crash, and so the protagonist gets captured by Sadar's men. They take him into a dark mirrored room similar to the one he and Neil were in earlier before. Sadar comes out of the other side of the room with Elizabeth, and we see it. They are both inverted. That is when we understand that this room is two sides, one normal and one inverted. It is shown to us especially when Sadar shoots Elizabeth, using an inverted bullet. The protagonist takes Kat through the inversion machine and puts her in an inverted timeline to buy her more time to heal. It takes them about a week, and that is when they head to the site of the plane crash where Neil and the protagonist first saw the inverting machine. That is also when the protagonist realizes the man who he fought over there was himself from the future. So they save Kat and then head on a mission to stop Sadar from killing himself. They go with Ives and his large team of soldiers and make two teams, one normal and one inverted. Each team has to take on separate missions to try and get the device. The protagonist goes on the normal team with Ives, and they head down a cave to retrieve the device, and that's when they get trapped. They try to get the device. Protagonist has a deep conversation with Sadar, but that is when Kat shoots him. That's because after the protagonist saved Kat, she went back in time to try and stop Sadar from killing himself before they get the device, but also kill him off once they do get it. Elizabeth shoots him a little early, but still in time for the protagonist to get the device, and also get saved by Neil. The protagonist, Neil, and Ives have a standoff where Ives draws a gun at them, but then decides that they're no harm, and so he gives them each a part of the device and tells them to kill themselves. Neil walks away, and the protagonist sees the tag on his backpack that he saw in the beginning, and also down in the cave. He tries to warn him, but Neil tells him it's okay. Neil also tells him that he knows him from the future. He's been inverted this whole time, and the protagonist realizes how close him and Neil actually are. He lets Neil walk away so he could meet him in the future. Neil does tell him that he is the creator of Tenet, though, from the future, and that this whole operation is his. The movie ends with the protagonist killing off Priya, because she was going to assassinate Kat.